Do you ever feel like you're trapped in an endless cycle of procrastination? No matter how much you want to be productive, you feel powerless against the magnetic pull of distraction. You are not alone. Procrastination afflicts almost everyone at some point. The pain of procrastination comes from the gap between what you want to do and what you actually end up doing. So you block off time to work on an important project, yet somehow you find yourself falling down a YouTube rabbit hole 3 hours later. You wake up determined to clean out your overflowing email inbox, but keep hitting snooze on life. So what causes this frustrating gap? Why do we struggle with avoiding things we genuinely want to accomplish? I've been there myself and discovered it comes down to how our brains are wired. The good news is there's a proven way to outsmart this wiring, and it only takes 15 seconds. What? Let's go. So why do we procrastinate in the first place? To understand the 15-second anti-procrastination trick, first we need to dive into what's behind procrastination itself. Our brains are essentially split into two forces, constantly battling for control. So in one corner, we have the prefrontal cortex, the center for rational thinking that handles executive functioning and decision making. Now, this helps you consider long-term consequences and goals. And on the other corner is the limbic system, our emotional center powered by a structure called the amygdala. This drives our feelings, impulses, and immediate pleasure-pain reactions. When deciding what to do next, it's a heavyweight matchup. Reason versus feeling. And often, feeling gets the TKO over logic. Here's why. Starting an unpleasant or frustrating task lights up our amygdala, triggering pain signals to avoid it. This is because intentionally focusing on work requires extended effort, which our brains have evolved to conserve at all costs. For example, let's say you have a big project to complete by the week's end. The logical prefrontal cortex calculates finishing it now prevents the much greater pain of all-nighters later. But the amygdala says dealing with that discomfort can wait, so we choose what feels good, which is leisure over work. Our brains are wired to seek rewards and avoid pain in the near term. I mean, this was great in the caveman times when conserving energy could mean all the difference between life or death. But today, it leads to self-sabotage. The pleasure of putting something off overrides the greater delayed rewards of acting now. In the end, amygdala 1, prefrontal cortex 0. This tension is at the root of procrastination. The logic knows we should start, but our primitive limbic system pulls us to put it off. Which then leads to our next question. How can we turn the tables and defeat procrastination? Luckily, scientists have discovered a simple mind trick that allows logic to outflank our brain's primitive resistance. This is by using something I call the 15-second rule. And you can trick your limbic system and overcome procrastination at will. So here's how it works. The next time you're avoiding an important but unpleasant task, set a goal to work on it for just 15 seconds. Why 15 seconds? Well, studies have found that it takes roughly 15 seconds for motivation to defeat procrastination when faced with a difficult task. This 15-second push against inertia generates just enough momentum to kickstart your prefrontal cortex. And once engaged, it releases dopamine and other neurochemicals that reinforce motivation. And before you know it, you're working for 30 seconds and then a minute and then 10 as you gain momentum. By initially limiting effort to just 15 seconds, you slide under the brain's resistance radar before it realizes what's happening. And before your amygdala can revolt, you already have momentum on your side. The science behind this is something called the temporal motivation theory. The scientific explanation is that temporal motivation theory explains how motivation ebbs and flows at different points in time when taking on a difficult project. When we initially think about a challenging task, we feel motivated and envision the rewards of completing it. We make ambitious plans, however, once we start working on it, our motivation often drops. The amygdala in our brain kicks in, steering us away from the difficult work and towards seeking pleasurable distractions. Simply pushing through the task with just sheer determination rarely succeeds. However, something interesting tends to happen around the 15-second mark. And that's why the 15-second rules proves to be effective repeatedly. How can we apply this technique in our daily life? Here are 5 creative ways to leverage the 15-second wins that helps me conquer procrastination personally. Identify your flinch tasks. Start by listing your most common avoidance triggers. These are small flinch tasks that seem to set off procrastination most frequently. For example, mine are forcing myself out of bed when I'm tired, making unpleasant business calls, and starting expense reports. Identifying these roadblocks are key. And once you know what sets you off, deploy the 15-second rule to countermeasure. Let me explain. So, verbally state your 15-second commitment. Speaking your intent out loud magnifies the intensity and accountability. So, when resisting a flinch task, set a timer for 15 seconds and state your commitment out loud. For example, say firmly, for the next 15 seconds, no matter what, I will work on this expense report. Verbal commitment sets your 15-second pact in stone. Now what we're going to do is to expand in 15-second increments. So once your 15 seconds end, congratulate your small win, then ask yourself, can I give it one more push of another 15 seconds? Often the progress pulls you in. But even if you stop here, 15 seconds already defeated procrastination. I would totally recommend for you to go all in to start. For 15 seconds, cut off any and all distractions. This means no email pop-ups, phone notifications, or even temptations within eyeshot. Setting this hard line increases the focus of your 15-second work sprint. So, consistently start your mornings this way. Begin each morning with a flinch task for 15 seconds right away. Knocking it out first thing builds confidence and prevents delaying it later. So, does it sound like all this sounds simple in theory? Perhaps, but don't let this fool you. Consistently using this tactic can help you achieve ridiculous productivity gains over time. So this is something that I wanted to share just on a personal accord. So I didn't know that I was using this 15-second rule before. And when I actually started doing research on this particular topic for this YouTube video, I was like, whoa, this is exactly what I was actually using. And it has actually been a game changer for me. So basically what happened for me was there was this singing audition back then in my 20s. And me and my friend saw this ad and we were like, hey, you know what? The initial dopamine, and we were like, let's sign up. And then when the date got closer, we were both wondering like, are we sure about this and stuff like that. I was even afraid more than my friend. And so when the day actually came, both of us met up and I told him that, hey dude, you know what? You go ahead, I'll be waiting for you and we will celebrate your win, right? I refused to go for the audition. So I just waited downstairs. The audition was on the second floor and I suddenly just had this self-talk and I was like, dude, you signed up because you're interested in singing. And then why don't you just go up and give it a shot? And for me at that point in time was, I'm too scared, the thought of going in and getting embarrassed and what if someone sees me and laughs at me and all of those kind of questions came about and I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. And then I was like, hey, okay, let's just do a deal, all right? Let's just do one thing, all right? I just want you to spend 1 minute. Just go into the audition room. I don't want you to sign up. I don't want you to sing. Just go into the audition room. 1 minute. That's all I'm asking. And so my self-talk sort of made me say, okay, fine. Let me just go into the room. So I walked up to the second room. I got into the room. And then they said, oh, you're here for the audition. Would you like to sign up? And I was like, am I going to do this? And then I said again, okay, you know what? You don't need to sing. Just 1 minute. Complete that registration form. So I went ahead, finished up the registration form, and the next thing you know, they called me up to sing. And this time I was like, no, I'm not going to sing. And then I told myself again, okay, dude, you know what? Your song is 3 minutes. All I need you to do is just 1 minute of that song. If you don't like it, you can stop, all right? The whole wheel is in your hands right now, all right? You can choose to walk away at any point in time, but I just want you to do this for 1 minute. And so I spoke myself to doing it, and guess what? I went through the auditions, I got the part, and I went ahead to sing. And so basically what I actually gathered from that entire experience was that when I take that entire task, which is to go for an audition, to sing in front of the judges, I just found it such a daunting process. There was so much weight on me. There's expectations, there's thought of embarrassments and all of those kind of stuff. But when I split that task into mini tasks and just got myself to do one thing for just 1 minute, or in this case 15 seconds, it was magical. So that was just my story of how things actually transpired, and I was so excited when I chanced upon this entire topic, and I really wanted to share this with you. So now, carrying on with the video, I'm going to share with you 3 tips to guarantee a follow through. So the first one is to enlist an accountability partner. Sharing your commitment with someone close turbocharges follow through. First, publicly declaring your intentions stacks social pressure behind it, but just as crucial, it recruits a personal procrastination watchdog. Your partner can keep you honest by checking in on your flinch task progress daily or even weekly. Top performers swear by effectiveness of accountability teams. To boost adherence, have your partner text a simple procrastination scale 1 to 10 each evening. Quick public scoring builds motivational reinforcement. Additionally, it's easy to create a WhatsApp or even Messenger group with a buddy of yours. Share photos and messages to channel that energy. 2. Set reminders to trigger procrastination hotspots. Part of why procrastination wins is environment. Certain situations subconsciously trigger our limbic system, hijacking logic. And that's why building cues to disrupt this works. Identify your common procrastination spots, like the tempting couch or the endless scrolling zone of your bed. Set up phone alerts prompting you to take a productive action for just 15 seconds. So just imagine you feel the urge to skip exercise, but with the 15 seconds, you manage to hit in a few push-ups. Surprisingly, you find yourself turning that into a 30-minute home workout, which seemed impossible if you had considered changing into your gym attire, putting on your shoes, and grabbing your gym card and all of that. Small steps lead to significant gains over time. Third, evangelize to friends and family. Sharing this method encourages others to try. Explain how small efforts consistently lead to significant gains and inspire them to appreciate the impact of gradual improvements over time. Describing techniques we find helpful not only reinforces our commitment, but also gives us the opportunity to uplift our friends simultaneously. So, my recommendation, give this a try for just the next 21 days. Here's the truth, no hack alone will make you perfectly productive overnight, but implementing the 15-second rule daily fills your life with tiny surges of progress. It puts you back in the driver's seat if procrastination routinely hijacks your day. Like dripping water on limestone, making small consistent gains carves outcome exceeding your expectations. Give this a try for the next 21 days, the average time it takes to form a habit. By overriding procrastination and tapping the power of compounding, there is no telling what you may accomplish. The only question here is, what are you waiting for? Aren't you curious to experience the results of this yourself? You have everything to gain and nothing to lose. Set a timer for 15 seconds right now and let the progress begin. So I sincerely hope this video helps. This 15-second rule was a game changer for me in my career, my acting career, my family and my love life and everything else. And I sincerely hope this helps for you. So if you like this video, do hit the like button and subscribe. Share it with a friend who needs it the most, and I'll see you on the next one.